Welcome to iNews. I'm Bina Mahes. Thanks for joining us and welcome to our viewers streaming us on itvtt.com and on ieradiott.com. In the headlines, more citizens expected to be sent home from quarantine facilities. The Works and Transport Minister has responded to port protest. And in a top story from Newsday, PNM selects attorney for Liberia seat. Top of the news at this time, the Ministry of Health says that Trinidad and Tobago has gone yet another day without recording another COVID-19 case. To date, a total of 4,385 samples have been sent for testing. 6 persons remain hospitalized at the Cora facility. Close to 600 nationals remain under quarantine throughout several facilities, including those on board the Enchantment of the Seas docked in Port of Spain. And so on Wednesday, during the ministry's virtual press briefing, Health Minister Terence Singh assured that many of them would be able to return home sooner than later.
At UWI, we have 50 persons, and hopefully the vast majority of them, that's at the UWI Penal DB campus. Hopefully the majority of them, once their tests come back negative, I will give you rough dates. They could be back home between the 29th of June to the 1st of July, assuming all goes well. Chancellor, state supervised quarantine. We currently have 22 persons. Again, with the proviso, if all goes well, they could actually be going home between today and tomorrow and maybe on Friday.
Singh assured that testing will continue throughout and gave an update on the PCR machine for Tobago, which he said should be ready for use in the coming days.
And I think persons went across from CARFA on Monday or Tuesday to do their validation and panel on the machine. So that is going to be up soon, and it follows the same reporting lines as usual. All the reports have to come to the Office of the Chief Medical Officer. There will be no exceptions as far as that is concerned.
Meanwhile, with business as usual on many fronts, there comes the topic of mandatory mask wearing. And while Minister Singh noted that most businesses were cooperating with his ministry's suggestions, the Attorney General has advised against making wearing a mask as law. Minister Singh said, however, government is depending on their moral suasion moving forward.
And the Prime Minister himself said, and I have said on these press conferences in the past, the legal ramifications of having a law making it illegal not to wear masks is something that the Attorney General has advised against. What we are doing from this forum is using strong moral suasion and to ask people to employ a sense of personal responsibility to wear a mask, especially in areas of close public contact, which you will invariably get in public transport.
Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has re-emphasized government's commitment to 10% of power generation from renewables by the year 2021. This target was set by Minister of Finance Colm Inbert in his budget speech on October 5, 2015. He also stated that renewable energy was high on the government's agenda, a sentiment echoed by then Minister of Energy Nicole Oliver in her contribution to the budget debate. Back then, Andre Escalante, CEO of Energy Dynamics and Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy Service Company, said that he was happy that the government recognizes the importance of renewable energy. In Mr. Escalante's opinion, the 10% target was achievable once all stakeholders are on board, but admitted that there were many challenges to be overcome. In his contribution during Wednesday's Virtual Energy Efficiency and Renewables Conference, Dr. Rowley said a consortium of companies have already submitted successful proposals for 2 of the projects.
A consortium formed by Light Source Renewable Global Development Limited, Light Source BP, Shell Trinidad and Tobago Limited, and BP Alternative Energy Trinidad and Tobago Limited submitted successful proposals for 2 projects. These projects will generate 92.2 megawatts of electricity from solar photovoltaic sources at Cuba and 20 megawatts of electricity from solar sources at Trin City.
And in a top story from Newsday, the People's National Movement has selected Attorney Steve McLatchie as the candidate for the Liberia constituency. He was chosen from a group of 4 nominees screened on Tuesday evening at Queen's Hall in St. Anne's. Before he was selected, McLatchie told Newsday the screening went quite well. He said he has an oil and gas background and has worked in several organizations. Chairman of the Liberia constituency, Wayne Wood, described Mr. Lachie as a procurement consultant. He reported that it was the 3rd screening for the seat. He said initially 7 people were to be screened, but 2 withdrew. The screening process began at 5 p.m. and by 6:30 p.m. the last nominee was screened. The nominations of former Public Utilities Minister Robert Lee Hunt and incumbent MP Nicole Oliver had been previously put on hold. With McLatchie's selection, the PNM has chosen candidates for all 41 constituencies. Let's go to a break and return with more. Stay tuned.
Sheikleisha Limited, the Caribbean's largest manufacturers of plain and printed paper bags, leaders in plastic bags, vermicelli, split piece powder, and greaseproof paper, ideal for doubles, french fries, and sandwiches. Supplying stores nationwide. For quality products, trust Sheikleisha Limited, 665-3336.
We all want to save money without compromising on the best quality insurance coverage. If you are renewing your motor or homeowner insurances soon, then call us at Achter Consultants. With over 27 years in the insurance industry, we can offer you significant savings on your insurance premiums. As agent for Guardian Group, we assure you the best quality coverage at a very competitive price. Email us at achtergroupmail@gmail.com.
Welcome back to iNews. The Trinidad and Tobago Inter-Island Company on Wednesday advised the public that the Galleon's Passage, 8 a.m. sailing from Port of Spain and 4 p.m. sailing from Scarborough were cancelled for that day. The action came one day after scores of workers downed tools at the port of Spain in protest of a number of outstanding issues, including salary negotiations. When contacted on the issue, Works and Transport Minister Rohan Sinanan said though he did not receive any reports on the matter, he admitted that outstanding negotiations were ongoing.
I haven't had an official report, but I have been in touch with the port throughout the day yesterday. And it's one of those days when the employees decided to, flex their muscles a little bit. We do have some outstanding negotiations ongoing, and unfortunately, the workers decided to, take that action yesterday.
iNews understands that hundreds of passengers were left stranded on Tuesday as the sailings of the vessels were delayed for several hours. Cruise ship passengers awaiting their COVID tests were also disadvantaged.
At the end of the day, we are very disappointed, yes, because apart from the passengers on the ferry, apart from the vehicles that were on the truck that had already been loaded, we had to do the testing of the passengers on the vessel that is outside there, the people on the cruise vessel. So yes, yesterday we were very disappointed with the action taken by the staff. However, we were able to call out the Coast Guard, and we did get the vessels off, the speed bridge off.
Minister Sinanan explained that the Minister of Finance had committed himself to a meeting with the port workers scheduled for next Tuesday. However, he said this was not enough for them.
That is because the vessels had to, because of the late departure yesterday evening, we have to reschedule. But I'm still hoping that good sense will prevail. As I said, we do have some outstanding negotiations. The Minister of Finance have committed to have a meeting on Tuesday of next week to come to some sort of settlement. Unfortunately, that was not good enough for the employees yesterday, and they decided that they were not going to come back out to work.
President of the Seamen and Waterfront Workers Trade Union, Michael Anisette, says government's offer to meet next week Tuesday to settle outstanding negotiations is unacceptable. On Tuesday, port workers staged a protest resulting in several delays between the inter-island ferry services. Mr. Anisette explained that it was not just about wages, as port workers continue to work on 2014 salaries despite a settled agreement for the period 2014 to 2017.
The Honorable Minister would have communicated to me, and I would have communicated back to the Honorable Minister that the proposal of next week Tuesday is unacceptable. The workers are insisting that we have a meeting this week to address these issues that has been outstanding and festering over an extended period of time. And I need the public to understand that the issue is not only wage, salaries, and I want the public to understand that this is not a negotiation. This is a collective agreement that was settled and acquiesced to and agreed to between the board and management of the Port Authority and Seamen and Waterfront Workers Trade Union.
He further explained that wages aside, there were several other issues that had not been resolved to date, despite the fact that the matter was raised several times before. Among those he noted were worker regularization, outstanding pension benefits, and overall working conditions.
Was signed in 2015. This is what we are talking about. But more importantly, there are several other outstanding issues that no one paid attention to. There are pensioners that would have left the port for more than 3 years and have not yet received their pension benefits. That's a reality. There is a situation where there's infestation of the shed where workers have to use and working with pigeon, feces, and all the sickness that can go with it. We would have addressed that since last year. There was a commitment to change.
When an infectious disease outbreak becomes a pandemic, as with the coronavirus disease, people are understandably frightened and concerned. When the outbreak is caused by a new virus, rumors and misinformation run rampant. Stereotypes quickly arise about people who have or may have the virus. Also, some people worry that individuals who have recently completed quarantine have COVID-19 and are contagious, but there is no evidence to suggest that's the case. But why is such a stigma attached to the virus? On Wednesday, Director of Mental Health Dr. Hazel Otello explained that because the virus is still so very new, it causes a wave of uncertainty amongst the population.
Why is stigma associated with COVID-19? One of the reasons is that it's a new virus, it's a new disease. People don't know much about it. There are so many unknown aspects of the virus. We're learning new things every day. And some of what we're learning is scary, some of it is concerning. So that tends to contribute, fear tends to contribute to stigma. We are often afraid of what we don't know. So we don't know much about the virus. That causes fear. And it's easy to associate that fear with others.
Obviously, there will be consequences. Dr. Otello explained that research from past epidemics has shown that stigma undermines efforts to test for and treat disease. People who are worried about being shunned or worse may be less likely to get tested or seek medical care. which increases infection risk for them and for others.
First, it may drive persons to hide their illness so as to avoid that discrimination. And we don't want people hiding their illness and avoiding testing and avoiding treatment. So that's not a good outcome. It may prevent people from seeking health care in an urgent manner. In other words, you're having mild symptoms that you think might be COVID-related, but because of the way you know that COVID-related people are treated in your environment, you don't acknowledge those symptoms.
With the COVID pandemic still ongoing, despite the limited cases here in TNT, many parents and guardians have found themselves at home taking care of their families and children in particular. And coupled with the fact that children are not able to do what they're accustomed to, particularly attend school, therein lies the problem of episodes of stress. However, speaking during Wednesday's COVID-19 press briefing, counseling psychologist at the NWRHA, Camille Campbell, made some recommendations on how parents can assist children who are stressed.
One way to deal with stress about COVID is to be informed. Parents, ensure that your children continue to get the right information about COVID. Information may change over time as this situation is fluid. There's a lot of fake news out there, and this can create panic and fear. So provide information that is truthful and appropriate for the age and development of your child. For older children who are quite resourceful, you can go and do your own research. Get information from credible sources such as the WHO or the Center for Disease Control.
However, parents and guardians too can suffer episodes of stress, and Ms. Campbell is advising that in order to manage the episodes properly, self-care is of utmost importance.
Manage your stress by taking care of yourself first. Self-care is not selfish. Find time for yourself. That could be having a cup of coffee or a cup of tea in the morning, where you smell, before everybody awakes, where you smell the aroma of the coffee, you taste the nice warmth, you could feel the breeze. Be present when you are doing something.
Business and more up next. Stay tuned.
During these challenging times, Dollar Value Supermarket is here for you, providing our customers with a clean, safe shopping environment, fresh produce from our farms, affordable prices, and friendly customer service. It's these values that make us not just a supermarket, but part of the community, committed to serving you and your family. Dollar Value Supermarket, your pocket-friendly supermarket. Free home deliveries from our Gasparilla and Fyzabad branches.
IETV requires marketing representatives. Previous experience in radio and TV sales would be an asset. Full-time and part-time positions are available. For details and to schedule an interview, email your resume to actorgroupadmin@gmail.com. actorgroupadmin@gmail.com.
Welcome back to IE News. It's time now for our business news. Welcome to ITV's business news. Finance Minister Colm Imbert is reporting that this country has achieved a very successful $500 million Republic of TNT international bond issue. The US $500 million 10-year bond offer was launched by Credit Suisse International at 8:30 a.m. this morning with an initial interest rate in the vicinity of 4.75%. In a news release issued today, Minister Imbrit states that within hours of launching, the bond offer was oversubscribed by more than 200%. Minister Imbrit said he considers it a tremendous achievement on the part of his team at the Ministry of Finance that in the midst of a very challenging COVID-19 period with depressed oil and gas prices and all of the economic difficulties associated with the public health restrictions, that the government was able to successfully issue the 10-year $500 million bond with high quality investors in less than 4 hours on the international market at the interest rate of 4.5%. He said it is also testimony to the confidence reposed by the International Financial Committee in the management of the country's finances under the present leadership in the Ministry of Finance. Meanwhile, businesses have been hit hard over the past few months owing to the countrywide COVID-19 lockdown, but the post-COVID-19 Roadmap for Recovery Committee has outlined numerous initiatives to provide relief. In its final first report, the first suggestion was for government to accelerate VAT payment refunds and other outstanding payments to the business community. The report stressed, quote, this must allow a revisiting of potential tax liabilities for 2020 given the likelihood of potential losses in 2020, end quote. Other initiatives from the report included a further reduction of the reserve requirement and a repo rate in order to lower commercial lending rates, additional availability of US dollars for local non-energy manufacturers and the insurance sector, the provision of a moratorium on principal payments on liquidity support government loans for at least 12 months, increased facility for the credit union sector through NEDCO, and other approved non-governmental institutions to enhance execution capabilities in providing immediate financial assistance to underbanked stakeholders from $100 million to $200 million, and the introduction of utility payment plans for SMEs when necessary. And that was a look at ITV's business news. Our latest COVID update next. Stay tuned.
Listen to iRadio at www.iradiott.com every day for devotional programming from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. Classic Hits Daily, a simulcast of I News from 6:30 p.m. At 7 p.m., a discourse from the Padmacharya of Swaha, Pandit Hardev Prasad, and the best of Bollywood hits overnight. IE Radio, streaming at www.iradiott.com to educate, enlighten, and entertain with you wherever you go. IE Radio.
Join me every Monday from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. for an exciting and soul-searching presentation entitled Namaste, Awakening the Divinity Within. The soul has tremendous potential waiting to be discovered. This program repeats on the same day at 4 p.m. Namaste.
Back to iNews. It's time now for our latest COVID news. Welcome to ITV's latest COVID update. EU ambassadors meet on Wednesday to plan reopening external borders on July 1st, and travelers from the US could be among those not allowed in. A number of European countries are keen to open up to tourists, but others are wary of the continued spread of coronavirus. The 27-member bloc must first agree the measures that non-EU countries should meet before deciding on a safe list. The virus is spreading in the US, so it is likely Americans would be barred. Brazil, Russia, and other countries with high infection rates would also be left off a safe list, according to reports from Brussels. Meanwhile, people in Scotland will be allowed to meet up with 2 other households indoors from July 10th, and pubs and restaurants can reopen from July 15th. First Minister Nicola Sturgeon also said the 5-mile travel limit will be lifted from July 3rd, while beer gardens can reopen from July 6th. Hairdressers and barbers can open from July 15th, as can holiday accommodation. Ms. Sturgeon said the move was possible thanks to the real sustained progress made in suppressing coronavirus. But she said the changes depended on keeping the virus under control and could be reversed if there was a fresh outbreak. New COVID-19 cases in the U.S. have risen to their highest level in 2 months, according to Johns Hopkins University, which is tracking the outbreak. On Tuesday, the U.S. reported 34,700 new cases. Only 2 days, 9 and 24 April, with 36,400 cases, have seen higher numbers, according to the AP News Agency. States including Arizona, California, Mississippi, Nevada, and Texas have recorded numbers of new cases, according to the AP. Health officials say the coming weeks will be crucial to stem the outbreaks. On Tuesday, America's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, told lawmakers there was a disturbing surge of infection and increased community spread in many southern and western states. Health authorities in Brazil have registered the second highest death toll since the pandemic began. The health ministry said on Tuesday that 1,374 deaths had been registered in the previous 24